Hi, I'm Jane Herschlag. My multi-genre memoir will be published shortly. I'd like to introduce you to tearing off the covers and give you a taste of what awaits my readers, with several pages and one poem. The book includes lightning flashbacks of child abuse. My father was a psychotic sadist, pedophile, and much of my childhood was buried till my mid-40s. Tearing off the covers is kind of a mystery documentary. When trauma is extreme, it can cause the events to get instantly buried until a trigger releases them from their grave. This memoir reveals how triggers can work like dynamite to unearth those fossils. Though I want to share my harrowing journey with you, it has a great ending, so you don't have to be as afraid as I was. It is the sharing and your witnessing that dilutes the toxins caused by trauma. Writing, reading, and sharing are powerful antibiotics which brought my immune system into recovery. I now live a physically and mentally healthy life as a wife, mother, grandmother, writer, and photographer. I'll read some pages and one poem to you now as the first installment, and you can check for the next reading and updates regarding publication. You can find me at poetryjane.com or photographyjane.com. And please send me your comments. I look forward to your responses. Tearing off the covers. Chapter 1. Mutti, Mommy, where were you? Secrets again pound my body for release. Several times I turned to psychotherapy to help me cope. I now see Dr. Sigmund. My abuse history emerged. After several months of joint sessions with my husband, I switched to solo to address those memories. I had defied Father by staying sane, instantly forgetting all the sexual abuse. Anne, born 30 minutes before me and a bit bigger, went home with Mother and joined Father and 3-year-old Beth. I stayed in the incubator for another week. Did this feed Father's disdain for the child with colic? Anne was near the family's inner circle. I was outside its circumference. Competition was decried as evil, so we found our own areas of expertise to excel in. She loved books and writing. I loved art and math. Looking different helped minimize the natural twin rivalry. But if my voice went above a whisper, Father's arm reached across the table and smacked my face. My early torture instantly fell into oblivion, yet I remained terrified of Father's rage and was nauseated when near him. I became mostly brain dead, an automaton by the age of 3. Beth was never hit, Anne was seldom hit, and I was hit often. That I did not forget. He held me by one arm as he smacked my rear. Like a yo-yo, I'd be flung into space, then pulled back to be smacked again and again. On rare occasions, Mother said, "That's enough." Cancer devoured Father a month before my 16th birthday. For me, it was a celebratory occasion. When I met Herb, I was quickly smitten. An artist with big blue eyes that twinkled when he was playful or smiled. He often wore a tan fedora and carried a photo of his much-adored 2-year-old niece, so I knew he'd be a caring parent, the opposite of Father. Herb was crazy about me. At a local park, he'd pushed me on a swing as he sang My Funny Valentine. Anne, Richie, her first boss from Alexander's department store, Herb and I hung out together, then double-dated. Herb proposed in March, and we married in June 1961. 5 months later, Anne and Richie married. Both our husbands weighed more than twice what we weighed. I guess we sought protectors, and our petite size must have made them feel powerful. After 2 years, we decided to start a family. 10 months later, Eric arrived. It took 7 months to conceive Danny, and we were set with 2 sons. Eric has Herb's heftier build, and Dan lithe like me. Both are Herb's height, but their abundant hair comes from my side. At 22 months apart, By the ages of 8 and 10, they often played together. Dan was a natural wordsmith and mathematician. Eric loved music and art. As did Anne and I. They found their special areas. Both were excellent students and went to selective schools in Manhattan. I regret that we let Eric skip a grade, so he began college at 16. We didn't expect that he'd be 3 years behind in bone growth and look like a 13-year-old. His late maturation and small size added to his difficulties, but severe hypoglycemia with its attendant weakness from age 7 on contributed to his macho behavior. When he didn't sit on the couch, too tired to play, he sought out the tough guys in junior high and smoked pot with them. In college, after being jilted by his first love, he used drugs. A year before graduating, he quit school and drove a cab or stayed in his room smoking more pot. In April 1987, Herb and I re-entered psychotherapy. As an escape valve, I began a journal. Now, from my home office with the lake view, I edit this manuscript, begun at age 45. It chronicles my rebirth. It's not linear. Past traumas don't surface sequentially. And now I'd like to read to you the poem, The Girl I Was. 4 years old. With his claw arm, he caught my wrist, dragged me to the water. My screams pealed as my heels dug shallow ruts in the sand. He walked deeper in, ribs cinched against his torso, lids scrunched, mucus face pressed against his chest, mouth pinched tight to dam the flood. I hung surfboard stiff. Inhaling thrashing waves, I hiccuped, coughed foam, flooding. Then, as if he tamed a beast, chin lifted, father turned, slowly bobbed to shore, dropped me like a hefty suitcase. Head drooped forward, wobbling. I stepped around plaid and striped blankets with bathers, stared hard at grains of sand that sifted between my toes, scouring memory. I reached my mother, talking with my 2 sisters. My feelings must have been illegible as a shell. I sat, wheezed. Later, in slow motion, I ventured to the edge of spent waves, filled my pink pail with sand. Its moist weight pulled my right arm long. Softly, I spoke to my sisters about sand pies, castles, and wheezed. How often had I been caught? But each time I was dropped and was brave enough to play. I'll pin gold stars to her hair, the girl I was. Thank you very much. This is the corner of the couch that I love to sit in and write my prose or my poetry. And I look forward to hearing from you. Just access poetryjane.com or photographyjane.com. Thank you.